The Air Force of the Armed Forces of Ukraine made 13 strikes on enemy positions, and units of the Ukrainian missile forces and artillery, for their part, struck 2 areas where the enemy's manpower and military equipment were concentrated. According to the data of the General Staff, the enemy continues to use civilian institutions for the treatment of armed Russian military personnel. So, in the city of Pervomaisk, Alkivsk district, Luhansk region, the Russians deployed a field hospital in the premises of a local school and are treating about 100 of their servicemen there. More than 150 wounded mercenaries of the private military company Wagner are being treated in the premises of the local brothel, equipped as a military hospital. The enemy, who lost 760 people killed just yesterday, continues to attempt offensive actions in the Bakhmutsky area and tries to improve the tactical position of its troops in the Kupiansk, Lymansk, and Avdiivsk directions. The enemy is defending itself in the Novopavlovsk and Zaporizhzhia directions, and in the Kherson grouping troops, the General Staff noted. As Ukrinform reported, as of January 1st, the Defense Forces of Ukraine destroyed about 106,720 Russian invaders, 3,031 enemy tanks, 6,084 armored combat vehicles, and other enemy equipment. A Ukrainian drone has captured harrowing combat footage from the crater-filled battlefields around Bakhmut showing Russian soldiers charging a Ukrainian position in a human wave attack. Putin's commanders have turned to WW1-style tactics as the mud and trenches around the heavily defended settlements see Russian soldiers sent in near suicidal head-on assaults. Russian forces have made multiple assaults on Bakhmut, with the battle descending into a meat grinder amid heavy casualties for both sides. Mercenary fighters from Wagner are heavily present among the Russian units looking to make gains against well-entrenched Ukrainian troops. The frontline footage captures the brutality of the combat, with a Russian squad being blown to pieces by Ukraine shells as they dash past fallen comrades. Bakhmut itself has become a ghost town of bombed-out buildings and deserted streets. Russian troops launched an ambitious attack to try and take the town, but it was reported this week that they have failed in their attempt. British intelligence claimed on Tuesday that Russia had carried out frequent small-scale assaults, but little territory has changed hands. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky summed up just how violent the situation in Ukraine has become as Kyiv and Moscow's men continue to battle. He said, "There is no place that is not covered with blood," Mr. Zelensky added. Last year, 70,000 people lived there. Now only a few civilians are left there. There is no place that is not covered with blood. There is no hour when the terrible roar of artillery does not sound. Still, Bakhmut stands. An end to the fighting is not in sight. Ukraine has maintained that it wants Russia to completely withdraw from Ukrainian territory. But the Kremlin has maintained that the 4 annexed regions must remain under Moscow's control to abide by today's reality. Ukrainian intelligence has suggested that Russia does not have the soldiers to launch an attack from Belarus. Vladimir Putin has reportedly mobilized a fighting force of approximately 10,200 people in the country, which has acted as co-belligerent since the invasion began. But Ukraine insists the 5-figure fighting force is not enough for a new attack. Ukraine's Pravda has reported that the head of the country's State Border Guard Service of Ukraine said on Wednesday that it could not launch a repeated offensive from Belarus. It is unable to carry out the task of a repeated offensive on the territory of our state. Ukraine has kept a watchful eye on its northern neighbor with help from an official assistance, Mr. Dianeko said. Meanwhile, A European security expert has said Ukraine is in a good position to launch a fresh offensive in the early part of 2023 and may even succeed in driving Russian troops out of the country completely. Ed Arnold, a research fellow for European security within the International Security Studies Department at the Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, was speaking on the final day of a tumultuous year in which Putin ordered troops into Ukraine only for them to become bogged down in brutal fighting. Recent months have seen Ukrainian forces regain large swathes of territory, notably Kherson, with Russia firmly on the back foot. Mr. Arnold told Express.co.uk there will be new offensives because from a military perspective, Russia has about 20% of Ukrainian territory at the moment roughly, which is not enough for it to achieve its political objectives. Conversely, from a Ukrainian perspective, their political objectives aligned with their military ones, Mr. Arnold stressed. He said, "I think also the Ukrainians have some options. They can press in the Donbass and hold on Crimea." Mr. Arnold agreed that Ukraine's hopes of reclaiming all the territory lost since Putin's invasion on February 24 were realistic, but added, "It all depends how they go about it."
Так же самое делать. Но мы будем дольше делать. Давай, стегни, пожалуйста.